All right. All right, so everybody should be able to see the screen. Just wanted to go over some of those key components as far as they reference the exam. And so if you received the email, just to follow up, it does have the PowerPoints, but also it included a couple of study guides, 1 through 4, chapter 1 through 4, and it included this document here, okay? This is for our Master Educator course. It is a hybrid online course, and it to be to go through it a little bit to make sure all of your assignments are going to DCICosmo@gmail.com. So any assignments that you have, it needs to go towards that email. Okay. So let's look here. It says students will not log into Zoom for weekly. We're not on every day, but we do have 2 Zoom classes. And remember, each instructor has to join. We would love for you to join at least one of our hybrid online classes or one in the building just for instructor training. Okay, just for instructor training, which means when you come into a classroom that another educator is teaching, you are considered a teacher as well. You are what we call our supporter teacher. You're learning how that class flows, the interaction between the teacher and the students. You're learning about how she's presenting the lesson, how the students are responding. And so when you guys make a decision to say, hey, I'm going to get my instructor's license, it does not particularly, it's nothing really to teach, but teach you how to teach and manage a classroom, how to teach the learner and how to manage the classroom. You're already an expertise in what you know how to do, okay? And so we just want to add on to it. Here are some chapters: chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 8, chapter 10, 11, 12, and 16. Those are your key chapters, okay? Even though we have those 20 chapters, these are your key chapters. And these are mainly the ones that we're really going to hunker and focus on, even though we're going to go over everything, okay? So chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 8, chapter 10, 11, 12, and 16. Looking at each one of these, before you leave, we want to be able to create a lesson plan, a theory lesson plan. You want to be able to create a practical lesson plan. You want to be able to create a sample test. Okay? I need you guys to know that when you create a sample test, you need to have 2 different types of questions. And you'll say, Ms. Cox, what are the type of questions? Of course, it is one of them is multiple choice. Another type is essay. Another type is match it. And another type could be fill in the blank. Okay? So you got to choose 2 types of questions to make up your test. And for State Board, you need to have at least a test with 5 questions. You need to have a test with at least 5 questions, okay? So we'll do that. Also, you got to create notes for theory and notes for practical, okay? Notes could be key points that you're going to discuss. It could be questions that you're asking students as they get to a certain part of the lesson. Also, we want to do a sample class of you teaching a class at the end, either on Zoom or in person, okay? And the video suffices as well. if we're not able to do one of those. So we have multiple ways to close out. And then, of course, there's the PSI preparation for the state board. Miss Rosalind is preparing now for her state board, so we've been getting her lesson plans together. We've been getting her working on the theory components. If you look at the bottom, the 100-question test outs, we're required to have you do 3, but we have up to maybe 5 to 600-question test outs, okay? And so it's every question we could possibly pull from the textbook, okay? Every question we could pull. And so your exam comes from that textbook. And so we feel like it's a very close reference for state board testing. Also, there is Tennessee state law that we would need to study as well. This is what you see here when you see content outline, okay? So when we talk about the theory exam, this tells you how many questions it's gonna be, okay? So this is where we get these chapters from. So you're gonna have educator-student relationship, that's 16% of your exam. You're gonna have 8 questions, okay? And those questions are gonna come from learning styles and types of learners and feedback. Next, you're gonna have 12% of your exam, which is 6 questions on curriculum development, okay? That's lesson plans, course content, teaching methods. Teaching methods is going to be 13 questions. That's one of the largest parts of your exam, okay? Implements and equipment used for instruction, student motivation, education environment, student characteristics, teacher characteristics, and teaching styles. So we're gonna learn a lot about how to teach and how the students learn. And students have different learning personalities, and we are to teach according to the learning personality. And so before we do that, we got to figure out how, as a teacher, we learn, and we need to understand that all because we learn a certain way, that our students in our classroom are not going to learn that way. So once we understand that our way is not the only road to go, there are many, many roads. It's not our way or the highway, okay? We are to analyze who's in the room. Everybody may learn differently. Once we figure out how the student learns, we have to create our lesson so this student is able to pull something. So we can't create our lesson one-dimensional. We got to create our lesson with our audience in hand. This is why playtime is over for those individuals that say, hey, I'm just gonna wing it. You cannot wing it in this day and age. You gotta know who's in your classroom, how they learn, and you build your lessons around that. When we look at classroom management, there's 5 questions. Talks about discipline. You have 10 questions on licensing. That's 20% of your exam. If you look at this exam and say, okay, majority of this exam is teaching methods and licensing, okay? Tennessee State Board of Cosmetology has the state law. When you guys pass your initial cosmetology exam, you had the state law. You'll see that state law again, all right? And in our files, in our Facebook groups, you'll be able to pull down the Tennessee state law to study it. But this is where the questions are coming from. Meeting licensure requirements. That simply means, as an educator, you need to know how many hours required for each license. So as an educator, you need 300 additional hours for an instructor. For natural hair, you need 300. For braid certification, you need 16 continuing education units, okay? For aesthetics, you need 750 hours. For manicuring, you need 600 hours. For cosmetology, it's 1,500 hours. For lash specialty, it's 300 hours. Okay? So at this point, state law licensing, when it talks about meeting license requirements, you need to know how many hours does each course require for you to get a license. Renewal, when does the license renew? For schools, every year by September the 1st. For everybody else, it's every other year. All right, every other year. For salons, every year. Okay, salons, spas, barbershops, every year. Okay. We look at board responsibilities. They manage the monies and they set rules. Okay, they set the rules of engagement for how we're going to do this. The politicians create the law, and then the board create the rules to follow the law. Okay. Okay, we also, as far as disciplinary, salon manager, cosmetology school manager responsibility. So pretty much the do's and don'ts of school ownership. What are the schools allowed to do? What are the schools not allowed to do? Okay. And also there'll be questions about change your address, contact information, ownership, things of that nature. And pretty much the state will not forward your license. Every time you move, you will need to update your address. Okay. Also, when it comes to reference lists, it tells you, okay, the textbooks where the courses, where the test is coming from. Milady Master Educator Student Textbook 2009. Okay. Volume 1, these are the chapters. Volume 2, 1, 2, 7, 9. Okay. And come on down. Ladies Master Educator, you're working in the 3rd edition, part 1 and part 2. That's where we are. All right. So we are working in part 1 and part 2. And then Del Mar Learning, Tennessee State Board of Cosmetology, the laws and the rules, what we just discussed. Okay. So you'll learn a lot, but we want to make sure that we are focusing on these chapters. And this is part 1 and 2, 4, 5, 8, 10, 11, 12, and 16. Do we have any questions? And of course, that's a guide. That's a guide that will. And we'll always reference that guide. Okay. Give us 1 second. All right, y'all hold tight for the lesson for today. Hey, how you doing? All right. So this is our first thing we want to look at today. As educators, I want us to find ourselves. We're about to jump into a slide presentation, but this is one thing I want us to look at: effective teaching strategies. Okay, effective teaching strategies. All right, so you have the student learning intelligence, and then you have the teacher observation. When we look at the teacher observation, y'all, we're always going to be in a place of observation because you got to know what's going on in your classroom. And when you know what's going on in your classroom, you're able to pivot and adapt the lesson to who's in the room. So I hope that really makes sense. Um, Plenty of times, plenty of years ago, people would come into the teaching realm and say, hey, it's a retirement plan. But you can't do that anymore because of the way that people learn. We learn so differently. And then we got different learners in the classroom than we had back in the day. Okay. And so now our classroom is multidimensional. When I say that, I'm talking about we got Gen Z and baby boomers, which means you may have somebody 60 in the classroom and somebody 19 at the same time. How do you teach them both? Okay. You may have somebody in the middle, and then you may have somebody who is just say they're 16 years old and they're 40, 16, 40 in the classroom. They're not going to receive the information the same, but you're going to have to adapt your lesson to the learning styles instead of the ages. Okay. Based on how they learn, that's how you adapt. So, how do we learn who's in the room? And so, let's see if you can find yourself. If you can find yourself. So, student learning intelligence. Okay. Verbal linguistic person, a verbal linguistic, and I'm probably not going to say the word student too much. So just working on changing our vocabulary. These are learners. Okay. So these are learners. So verbal linguistic learners. So these learners prefer using words, both in speech and writing. And so almost it's like these learners, they can't get enough of you. They want to continue asking questions, and they're going to ask questions until they understand. And sometimes those questions are how, why. And I don't want you to get irritated. They just have this enhanced sense of learning. And so please know, just as an educator, you're really not teaching until there's an understanding that the student has learned what you have presented. So I always try to do some type of evaluation at the end of the class to see if what I taught, they have retained it. All right. And so don't be offended when they ask questions of how is that so? Why? Can you give me another reference? That's what they're supposed to do. So that's telling you that learning is coming in, it's trying to find a place. They're trying
to perceive it in their mind and understand it. And so those students, they like using words. These students, when you call on them also, they are using words. They like to tell a story. They're going to go around the whole thing. Then you have your logical mathematical learner. Okay. They love logic, reasoning, systems. Here's one thing with logical. It has to make, they're looking for it to make sense to them. Okay. They're looking for it to make sense to them. And if you're teaching them anything with a number, that numbers are associated or money, they get onto it really, really fast. Lastly, if you give them a checklist, they're really good with procedures. And so you can give them some, say, hey, these are the steps. With those steps, those students are going to follow those steps and they may follow those steps only. Okay. So if they're following those steps, you can give them a task list and these students will get the list done. You don't have to micromanage them. They'll get it done because they're following a system. And again, these learners only want to make sure that it makes sense. Once it makes sense to them, they can go ahead and keep it moving. Okay. Then you have your bodily kinesthetic students, the learners. They prefer using their body, their hands, and their sense of touch. So these students may be huggers. How do we, if we have students that love touch, two things, you can greet them with a handshake, a dap when they come into the classroom. You can ask them what they prefer or a hug. And so you already, before class even started, you tapped into their learning style. From doing that, you can have little things on the desk, especially if you got a round table, that as you are teaching, it may be stress balls, it may be Lego pieces. All because you see their hands working and moving does not mean they're not learning. It just simply means this student needs to have something in their hands as they retain the information. And you may say, how is that possible? I'm telling you, have something productive or recreative on the table. If not, this student will go to their phones. They'll start going through their backpack. They'll get up and start distracting the classroom. Okay. So this student has to have their hands busy. And sometimes they don't know how to articulate that. So they may be a little disruptive in the classroom. All right. So if you see the student, the learner that always in their phones, this person may be bodily kinesthetic. Okay. Which means you got to find something for them to do with their hands. All right. Something for them to do with their hands. And then you have the student that are visual, they're more spectacle. Okay. They prefer using pictures, images, and spectacle understanding, which means they're connecting the dots. Okay. And so these students that are visual, they want to see you do a demo. It clicks, they can learn it, but they don't really get it until they see you do it. All right. And videos work well for this person. Social media is going to work well for this person. Any kind of reels, clips, YouTube, all of that is going to work well for this person. Okay. All right. So far, let me, if you're available, if you're not available, I'm good. Can you put in the chat, do you know anyone from the first four that we talked about? Verbal, linguistic, logical, mathematical, bodily, kinesthetic, or visual spatial? What four, do you know someone um of these? Put it in the chat. And then do you know someone that got more than one? Do you see yourself so far in the top four? I'm going to mute for 30 seconds and then I'm going to come back and check the chat. All right. I don't want to go too fast, but I want to make sure that you see yourself and we got more to talk about. All right, I'm back. Hey, yeah, I said I was pausing for 30 seconds real quick, but I am back. I am back and I'm back. Okay. Oh, Miss Chapman said you're visual and verbal. Mm, that's going to be good. You know what, Miss Chapman, that's going to be good because you're going to be able to connect with the students. A lot of times we connect best with the students that learn like us. And so if you're visual and verbal, that's all of cosmetology. So that means verbal, you can teach it. You're going to relate to them in conversation and in the lesson, in lecture, and visual, it's going to come easy for you to demonstrate. And we take the things that we have understand and the way that we learn, and we simply just communicate that to the students. So I think those are good. I don't think you're gonna have a problem. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna adapt into it, more into it. Adrian said, "Yeah, yeah, Adrian. I just said I was giving you a little bit to um, talk about where you are as far as the four learning styles we just discussed. And I'm gonna go back to those learning styles, okay? So we can look at those learning styles. We discussed verbal, logical, bodily, and visual. So we got plenty, we got some more to go. Okay. Here's why we need to learn this and find out where we are, guys. Because your lesson, your lecture, whatever you're teaching, has to include at least four learning styles. And somebody may say, why, Miss Cox, do we have to have four learning styles? Hold on one moment. You got that, sister?
Hello? I can't hear anything.
I think she said, hold on.
Oh, okay.
Hi guys. Yes, I had said hold on for a minute. I needed to take the call. My mom actually is in a procedure right now, so I needed to give additional consent. So, thank you for your patience. Let me jump back on. Go back to our shared screen. Back to our classroom. All right. So, Adrian, I saw that you put a few of them down, and all of that works well. And really, it just goes to show how prepared you are to move into the classroom. You guys probably have already been using some classroom management styles and already utilizing these learning intelligence, and not even know that you're actually flowing in that educator role. All right. Because we simply need to figure out first how we learn before we can teach anybody. And then we figure out how well our audience, which is our learners, the people in our classroom that we're teaching, how well they learn. And we put the two together. It becomes very difficult when we're trying to teach somebody and we don't have an understanding at all. Okay. And so some students would consider that roadblocks, barriers, and then they become very frustrated. So it's good off jump. And that's what chapter 4 is all about. It's between 4 and 6 is learning how you learn and then how they learn as well. One note I was saying before I stepped off was every lesson that you teach, you need to touch at least 4 different learning styles, which means before you leave class, before you dismiss class, it needs to be some type of evaluation of what did the students learn for that day, whether they do a survey, whether they come up to you and say, I learned this and I learned that, whether you say, I have something called top 10. You can do top 7, you can do top 4, you can do top 3, whatever you want to do. But it's my interpretation of surveying myself to see what the students learned. You never want them to leave and say, I ain't learned none of that. That was a waste of the day. If we just been here 6 to 8 hours and you ain't learned nothing, I want to get understanding of what really went down. Okay. So at the end of the day, I do want to know, what did we learn? What did we do? Verbal, logical, bodily, and visual were some of our key ones. But let's jump into musical. Y'all, let me tell you what I use. Musical, aural. We also call this person a rhythmic learner. This person needs rhythm. It calms them. They love dance, or they may love the arts. They love music. They like a beat. This person could wear headphones and study at the same time. And you're trying to figure out, ain't no studying going on. Actually, it is. There, once they hear the rhythm really helps them absorb the information. And we call this person a rhythm learner or musical learner. And so this person may love music no matter what type of music it is. And it's not just musical notes, all right? We're also talking about anything that has a rhythm to it, a cheer, a chant, a rhyme, a poem, um, anything that has a rhythm to it, instrumentals. They may make their own sound. I bet we all know somebody been in school where in class they made their own sound on the table, on the desk. Okay, and so rhythm ushers learning. And so you, when you're teaching, you say you're teaching finger waves. Okay, I I remember a class, maybe 2009, maybe 2009. 2010, I was teaching a class. I was director of a beauty college, Battery Career College, and I was still teaching. And so I was teaching finger waves, and I had to find multiple ways to teach finger waves because everybody don't get it. And they was like, finger waves was not popular then. They felt like it was old school. Why are we learning this? So I had to bring it in together some kind of way. And so not only am I going to visual, first I had to verbal. I had to verbally give a lecture on it and give examples. The logic component was to how do I make sense sliding, lifting, squeezing, calm down. Like this is literally a hand movement. I had to literally break it down into 4 easy steps. And you got to know who your students are. You can't have nothing real complex. They're going to get lost, especially when you're teaching. You start them off small, then you will increase. The more they learn, the wider their scope becomes. And so I studied this and I said that finger wave, literally you slide, you lift it up, you squeeze what you lifted, and you calm down, and you're just going to repeat. That was me making it mathematical. I put it in steps. I created a system. Okay. And so from there, I come in and my students create, we have to create something or a way to, something with rhythm in a way for you to remember the finger wave process. And I had 3 or 4 different groups of students, and then they had to present. Some of them created a rap, some of them created a cheer. But what was cool was I had a group that created a line dance. And the line dance was simply slide, lift up, squeeze, and calm down. And they had some dance steps, and I need to go find, I think Travis was one of my students at that time. I need to go find one of them students, y'all. But that was 15 years ago. And notice how it came just on the top of my head because it's rhythm and it was a system. That's how I learned. And so it was easy for me to retain the information. We have to think the same way. What do you want your student to retain once they become licensed? It needs to come back to them just like this. All right. So although all the stuff that they're going to learn, this is one of the most important things. It needs to come back. And based on how they learn, that information will be retrievable instantly. All right. So musical. Okay, you guys may do it too. And let me tell you, I need to learn 2 line dances. And I'm watching them. But I know I ain't gonna get it till I get out there and I get it going. But I'm listening to the music. And it's like the music is okay. It's showing me how to do it. And I'm listening to the instructions. But y'all, when I get up and try to do it, the feet don't connect. I can do it in my mind. I got the system. I see the steps, but I need to connect it. So I need to jump in with the rhythm and really get going. So think about that with your students too, especially the ones who maybe not rhythm learners, but they're more logical. They just said, look, I'd rather you tell me what to do, let me do it and move on. And then you may find that those students may have a hard time with rhythm fitting in, doing a dance step or something of that nature, because they just want like, is there another way to get this done? You have those types of students, and then you have students that have multiple learning styles, and they use all of it to learn one thing. But musical, and this is the question here: if you had to teach, oh no, how would you bring music or rhythm into the classroom? Give me an example of how you would bring music or rhythm into the classroom. You can unmute if you can. If you can't, just drop it in the chat. How would you bring music or rhythm into the classroom? And I'm choosing music or rhythm because music, it's a lot of music out, and more we have. We're going to do the statistics. We have a large number of Gen Z students, and they've recultivated music and what we seem to have as music. So you're going to have a lot of rhythm learners in the classroom. And so, how would you, as an educator, introduce music to help you teach in the classroom or rhythm? What would you do? And I'm going to give you an idea, but I want to hear from you. Anybody?
Repeating phrases rhythmically by giving certain phrases a rhythm and repeating it with a rhythm.
Uh-huh. And then adding like a snap, clap.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I like that. Anyone else? Let me go to the chat. Adrian, you said that's hard. What's that? The line dance example was good. My granddaughter's teacher uses the cha-cha slide to teach. Yes. Y'all.
I'm sorry, I can unmute now.
Okay.
That's hard. I can't. I have no idea. But like you said, that your team did with the line dance example, I thought that was good. And then I thought about my grandbaby's teacher told me that she uses the cha cha slide. So I
Mm.
guess I would try to come up with a line dance.
Okay. Here's what the line dance do too, or any dancing do. Number one, I did this also because I was teaching, but I had a group of individuals that worked overnight. And I had moms that had kids. And sometimes they're not morning. Oh, you had some students not morning people, but I'm the teacher. I'm the leader in the classroom. I got to build the momentum. You come in, you like, it's boring. I don't want to be here. The teacher boring. I had to figure it out. So I told them, I said, hey, our school did a lot of stuff to get our students into a positive spirit for them coming in. And we had no problem at night, but it was the morning class. It's just that first hour getting them motivated. Um, we fed them, so we started giving them breakfast for them coming in on time. Baby, they were on time, okay? And then number two, in my class, if they got there before class started, we would do morning exercise, okay? And the morning exercise was, I chose, it basically was a line dance, but it was a Soldier Boy tell them or something of that nature, but Soldier Boy had a dance. And I really put myself on the front because what I needed to do, I needed to connect with my students. And then you have, they can dance, they know the song, they know the rhythm. So I don't have to be the one always in the teaching mood. I let them come in and say, okay, teach me. Your teacher can't dance, she need a little help in the rhythm. Maybe I did, maybe I did, but it gave them an opportunity to come to the front, their skill, their talent to come to the front, no judgment zone. And we had these guys that really could dance. And baby, they was there early. They were there excited to teach the class how to do the dances. And everybody would want to come in my classroom. And that's a thing too. When other people see when other students see that your students are smiling and there's some happiness and learning is taking place, that's attractive. And you'll want other students to try to come. You will make your coworkers step their game up. All right. Because now, oh shoot, we got to do something or we're gonna lose the momentum in our classrooms. So it helped everybody just raise their bar up where everybody contributed to the dances to everybody, even the other teachers would come in the room and get their just kind of get their energy flowing with the dance, and the students loved it. They like to show out too, but they absolutely loved it. And from there, we'll do a big group motivation, which is a quote of the day, and ask the students to do reflections. And from there, I was thinking to myself, they don't even know that they motivated themselves. We'll clap it out, which builds energy. We'll smile and ask them to go dap hug somebody today. Same thing they would do in church. And let's go. Pump them up and say, let's go. Let's get this money. We will use money, and money is our students at that time were money motivated. They wanted to know what they needed to learn to make the money. And so we'll put them on the floor and be like, money, 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 money. Let's go get it. Let's set up. The longer you take, the less money you make. And we figured out that group of students. It may not have worked for everybody, but we figured out with that group of students what we needed to do to get their momentum up that morning. And it was up to the educators to do that because we were the leaders. And we didn't want our supervisors and directors to come down and say, what they doing? We need to switch some stuff up. We would have lost our jobs. So our jobs were literally on the line. We got to get this momentum up and keep it up. And we got to make sure that the students are happy, that they're learning all of this at the same time. And when I tell you we had rhythm, we had systems, we showcased the students' talents, and we had to talk it through because we had some students say, okay, walk me through that one more time. And so we literally touched a couple different learning styles before we even started our day. We touched a couple of different learning styles before we even started our day. We have a Cosmo student. Good morning, Cosmo student. How you doing? We'll be with you in one moment, okay? Go ahead and we actually may log off and then you'll be able to come back in. But right now you're good. Just go ahead and clock in on home base while we finish up. Okay. Let me go back over to here. So that was musical. Okay. And then there's interpersonal, intrapersonal. Let's learn the difference between these two. Interpersonal, intrapersonal. So for everybody on here, I want you to let me know, do you prefer learning in a group or being partnered up with someone? Or do you prefer, look, give me my lesson and let me know when to turn it in? I'd rather work by myself. Okay. If you prefer being in a group, put 1 in the chat. If you prefer, look, I can do it on my own, put 2. You prefer working in a group or being a partner, you consider that fun, cool. You could use the support, put 1. But if you would rather work alone, put 2.
Both is okay.
Okay, Ms. Chapman says both is okay. All right. I'm good with both. The only time that I have an issue with groups, y'all, is when everybody's not pulling their weight. And then that pushes me over to working by myself. All right. So
Yes.
you're going to have to recognize who these students are, your interpersonal students and who your intrapersonal students. And sometimes your interpersonal students are students that lag behind. They may be late, tardy. They work multiple jobs. They have a hard time understanding. We are the educators. We set the tone. But then there are you can find out in your classroom easily who are your classroom leaders. And your classroom leaders and students really learn well from each other. So we could set the tone and then we could do partnerships, okay? And partnerships is sometimes where the student don't even know that they're getting help, that you're helping them with their grade by putting them in the group, and that way they can glean off of other classmates, okay? Whether that's in a project, whether it's I put the students in the group to learn the finger wave. And a lot of time I set the foundation for the wave. and we'll have some music playing. All the students be lined up against the wall. You know how traditional beauty schools were. They'll be lined up against the wall. And then I go one by one and say, come on, let me see you do it. Watch me do it and identify their weaknesses. Let them practice. When I got to the last student, I said, you guys can partner up as well and show each other what you've learned and maybe come together. I'm going to give you about 15 minutes to partner up. Well, what that does, it breaks up that that fear, or I got to learn something by myself. It breaks up that anxiety of I can't get it. It's just not working with me. And then when they get partnered with somebody else may say, just try it this way. And you'll find that they kind of come out of that fear a little bit and they learn it a little better when they go back to being individual. And I've had students that have had issues reading, really commonly putting things together, adult ADHD, things that adult dyslexia, things that we're not grabbed in high school or middle school or elementary, but we're very identifiable as adults. And so you may think as an educator, I'm here just to teach, da da da. But yes, and we have to show soft skills. We basically become the teacher parent. We have a teacher parent relationship. And it does not matter how old the clients are, because some of your elementary things you would teach elementary or young children, those concepts work the same in an adult environment, but you give them a little more freedom. You don't want them to feel like that they're a child at such an adult age. So you give them freedom of choice. I may limit your choices, but I'm letting you choose what you would like to do. And so they feel more of that adult environment. And so a lot of times I do have students that like interpersonal. Okay. And because we're on Zoom, there's a factor on here called breakout rooms that will suffice as our group activities. They could throw ideas around, things of that nature. So interpersonal, see who those students are. And then you have intrapersonal, those students who will prefer to work alone and use self study. Now, when you see these individuals, they already may be loners. I sometimes will put them with someone because I don't want to always see them by themselves. And sometimes people do that not because they study better together, they just don't want to be bothered with other people. But we gotta, it's a community in the classroom. We want to build family. For those individuals that indeed study better by themselves, I will let them go in a corner, have their moment. I'm not contesting that. I don't want to make a student do something they don't want to do because that's going to bring a hostile environment and different emotions into the classroom that interferes with the learning. 24/7, when they're in their classroom and you clock in for work and they clock in for school, learning should be taking place. Any barriers, disruptions of barriers causes learning to be halted. Okay. And so sometimes you have to say, is it really that important? You know? And so a lot of people will look at me when I say my school is a non traditional school. I absolutely, for over 20 years, have been working. I worked for 3 schools in 20 years. And when I started my school, it's like God was saying, do not do anything the way you have seen it. You got to go in another direction because it ain't what it's supposed to be. And so I asked my instructors, how much does that phone bother you? That student has a yellow cap on Zoom. How much does that bother you? And if it bothers you that much, maybe we need to find something else that you should be doing, or we need to get to the root of why that bothers you. Because what we need to do is make sure learning taking place. And if we are mad because of a yellow hat or just a hat being on, that means that we have let that little hat take us out of a place of learning where a student could have been learning something very valuable, but we had to pause for some emotional feelings. And so once You know your students, know your learners, adapt your lessons accordingly. Okay, adapt your lessons accordingly. The last one is naturalistic. All right, naturalistic. This is a person that loves to take their shoes off. They like to sit up on a tree. They like learning outside. They like the sunlight. Um, Sometimes they're bubbly and funny when the sun comes through. Um, they like exercise and they may even like yoga and stuff like that. But naturalistic. You said, Miss Cox, how do I bring a naturalistic learning into my classroom? Well, guys, open the windows, open the blinds, let the natural light come through. Okay. Put a plant or some greenery in the classroom. What you're doing, you're tapping into that student's learning style without having to announce it. They see the greenery, they see the natural light. Also, after lunch, you may take a walk around the building, or you may go to the parking lot for stretches. Um, at the end of the day, you may take a walk. And let's review our terms. So all the students may walk around the parking lot, getting your exercise. And what are you doing? I made sure that my naturalistic student could experience learning in their environment. Now that's a bad teacher right there. Okay. You understand who you got in the classroom and you're teaching a lesson, but there's certain parts of the lesson that you cater to certain learning styles. What do we get at the end of the day? The student says, when I say, did you learn anything today? They're gonna say, I did. We did this. It's the same thing, but every learning style is going to appreciate that you took the time out to cultivate that lesson just for them. So big deal, guys. I'm excited about y'all being educators. Big deal. And once we know how we learn, that self-evaluation, we could teach it. We could teach anybody. I literally think I can teach anybody. I'm working on a truck driving school with someone, and I'm studying. I literally think I could teach truck drivers how to drive from a virtual classroom. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna invite y'all to the grand opening. I can do it. So teaching is just you knowing who you are, how you learn, and knowing your audience. That's your students, the learners, how they teach. Adapt what you know, your experiences in a way that they can retrieve it. And that's it, y'all. That's it. I hope y'all got something amazing today. And it's just an introduction. What I want to ask for my educators, give me one thing, one of your takeaways from this lesson today. What did we learn, or what did you say? Hey, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna use that. That'll work. Give me a takeaway, maybe an aha moment from today. You can blow the chat up, or you can be in the group. Okay. Yes, must implement. Yes, at least 4 of the learning styles. Can you imagine? You're a bad teacher. You can implement all of them. Everybody's gonna want to come in that classroom because they feel like you're teaching, and you're like, I ain't doing nothing, but you're connecting with them on another level. Okay. All right. Good job, Ms. Chapman. Anybody else? Anybody else? Perquetta, I know that you're on, but Perquetta, how do you learn best? How do you learn best? Since you're a student, I know you're jumping into your Cosmo class. How do you learn best?
Um, I prefer learning. Well, it really doesn't matter. I can study alone or in groups, but I do love a lot of sunlight and going outside, plants and things like that. I just realized that when you said it, that I was like, yeah, that's my type of setting right there.
Yeah, just feeling peaceful. Does it feel peaceful to you?
It does. It it relaxes all my thoughts because I be in my head a lot.
Uh-huh.
And being outside and in nature, I feel at peace.
Wow. So Miss Chapman, Miss Candace is on here too. Hey, Miss Candace and Miss Owens, you got it from a student.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. We just got a prime example from a student. So when a student gives us that type of information, we got to figure out, like, we already know we know. We're here because it's a passion. It's very exciting. And so now we just got to take this and be like, okay, let me add this to it. Or, oh, since it's kind of cold outside, what else could I do? When you go in a nail shop, sometimes they have that video playing of just the music, and then they have the beautiful gardens. You have to figure out, how do I bring a natural aspect inside my classroom? That's amazing. That's amazing. So thank you, Ms. Quetta, for giving us an example for the day.
Miss D,
Uh-huh.
we're in chapter 3, and it talks about take your temperature. That's more so like setting the tone for when you come into class and stuff like that. So just checking your temperature and setting the environment kind of help relax the students, and like she said, she already be in her head, so making the atmosphere more relaxing, and um where she can feel, where she can open up and be into learn and stuff like that. I think that is really good. This chapter here, chapter 3, it talks a lot about those things, and I just love the fact that, like you said, about when you know your students, just like being attentive. We talked about that as well in chapter 3. And I think when it comes to learning, it's like you implement the book, but like you said, all the time, this generation is like visual, so life lessons as well as being in the salon and stuff like that.
Yes.
It help a lot of these students as well. But I just want to touch on that when you said that, because we end in chapter 3. So
Oh wow, that's good. And instructor and my master educators, that's Miss Candace. She is our Cosmo instructor, and she's talking about chapter 3 of cosmetology. And so you guys will probably be seeing her and hearing from her all the time if you haven't met her already. So yes, Miss Candace, I absolutely. And we're gonna let y'all jump on in a minute. I just want to look at the chat. Miss Owen says everyone has a different learning technique. It's important. It's important to implement their learning style to be successful and get the most from the learners. Yes. And you know what? 10 years from now, those students will come back, and guess what? I've had students say, I went to other classes, and really I had students say, I didn't even like you in my class. I didn't even like you as my teacher. But you know what, guys? I taught. And sometimes teaching, you ain't the most popular one. I taught. I had other stuff going on. I was not trying. I had friends. I'm not trying to be nobody's friend, and I'm not trying to be nobody's parent. And so we'll talk about that as far as educators making sure we stay in a place where we're supposed to be as far as teaching, and blurring the lines because we're trying to be friends and familiar just kind of cuts, it dilutes the learning process for the students. So I had students come back and say, at that time, um, I and then I look back, they said, hey, I only remember what I learned in your classroom. And I thought that that was a very disadvantage for that student because they paid this amount of money for their cosmetology career, and they only remember something where they were in my classroom 2 times. We had 7 classes. I taught 2 of them. And I'm like appreciative, but at the same time, I wish my coworkers would have followed lead and taught them better, And so I really care about how they are going to be prepared in their real life when they get out into the field because it's a reflection of me. And so that's something you'll have to check with as well. Create a survey to learn my students' learning style. Yes. Create that survey. Learning. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. You are a thermostat or thermometer in your classroom. You are. And we know when something going left in our classroom. And so we have to figure out how to bring it back together. We know when students have something going on in their brain and like, what is it? You may not can articulate it, but can you write it out? Describe it for me. And that helps students as well. Okay. And so we're going to pick back up on this. I want my instructors we're on chapter 4. And so I'll probably come back with a more in detailed live. This particular, that PDF that I just showed, I'm going to email that over to you and you guys could do your own evaluations on that as well. So I'm going to hand it over to Miss Candice, which is now moving into Cosmo. Okay, Miss Candice. Do you want me to end this? Because I had it on YouTube recording the instructor class, but we can keep it rolling if you want to.
It's up to you. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, my educators, if you want, you can log out or you can hang around with Miss Candice as she starts her Cosmo class. I'm going to log out and prepare for tonight's class. And I got tonight class at 6 p.m. if anybody want to jump in. We're on chapter 13. We're doing a study guide for like chemical pills and just doing a review of that chapter. So I will see y'all later. Y'all have a blessed and amazing day and look for that email of that PDF to come through. I'm out of here. Y'all be blessed.
Miss Chapman, I think it is probably like have to log into your home base in the beginning of class, but you can reach out to Miss Cox and she'll be able to fix that time for you.
Okay, you said Miss Cox.
Yes, ma'am. What'd you call her, Miss D?
I'm not sure. Like today was my first day. I don't.
Okay, okay. You can either call her Miss D or Miss Cox, but she'll be the one who will be able to help you with your time.
Okay.
So
All
again,
right.
shoot her a text or email and let her know that you were online, but you forgot to clock in onto home base, and she'll fix
Okay.
it.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Miss Bradford, say your first name for me. I don't want to mess your name up.
Quita. You can just call me Quita.
Okay, Fleeta. Okay. So, we left off at at the last objective, and we'll start there. Have you pulled up your scene and everything?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Give me like 2 minutes and we'll get started.
Okay.
All right. So on Tuesday, we pretty much went through most of everything. But the last of follow guidelines for workplace communication. So just to reiterate, um, what we already went over, and that was explaining communicating for success, practice communication skills, conduct a client consultation, and how to handle communication barriers. So today we'll just fall right on into, like I said, the last objective, which is learning guidelines for workplace. So it just tells us that behaving in a professional manner is the first step in making meaningful in-shop communication a reality. The salon, spa, or barbershop is a close-knit community in which people spend long hours working side by side. For this reason, it is important to maintain boundaries. Remember, this is your place of business, and as such, communication within it should occur with respect and mindfulness, which is good. I love that it says that we should remember to, have respect for others and be mindful of others as well. Because again, when we in the shop and stuff, we do spend long hours with these other people, and that becomes like your second home, to be frank, um because it depends on how you have your schedule, but you spend a lot of time with the salon and the people in the salon just as well as you spend at home and with your family. So communicate with coworkers. In a work environment, you will not have the opportunity to handpick your colleagues. There will always be people you like or relate to better than others. Keep these points in mind as you interact and communicate with coworkers. Treat everyone with respect. Regardless of whether you like someone, your colleagues are professionals who deserve respect. Remain objective. Different type of personalities working together over long and intense hours can breed some degree of dissensions and disagreement. Make every effort to remain objective. Resist being pulled into specks and cliques. So before we go to the rest of them, I just will say talk about these first two. Treat everyone with respect. Yes, you have to treat everyone with respect, but when it comes to it, you have to also be getting the same respect as well as like it said in the above about setting boundaries. Remain objective. No, we can't pick the people that we work with, but we can pick at the same time because um like you probably have been places and you didn't feel the vibe was right. So you knew that that wasn't the place for you to be. And
The
when it
person,
huh?
the vibe and a person, you can just feel that something's not right with them.
Right. So you can kind of pick at where you want to work. Um um like you said, the vibe and the people. So they help you to be determined what you want to do. So again, I say you can pick the environment that you choose to work in because which salon may seem gossipy, which gossip is everywhere, but at the same time, salons that are professional and they is really in there about their business. So again, you can remain objective, but at the same time, you can pick the environment you want to be in. Be honest and sensitive. Many people use the excuse of being honest as a license to say anything to anyone. While honesty is always the best policy, using unkind words or action at work is never a good idea. Be sensitive and think before you speak. That is kind of good because you get like, older people feel like because they much older that they can say certain things to you and you just be looking like, just because you old don't mean you right, don't make you right. And we want to get them the respect, but sometimes it be like, hold on, you stepping on some toes, ma'am. You might, ma'am, or sir, you might want to back up because I'm trying to be sensitive about the fact that I was raised to have respect. So we have to catch ourselves with it because people are trying to say, "Oh, I'm just being honest," but some honesty it can be hurtful, you know. And they say, "What is it? Constructive criticism." We should take that and just redirect it on in a different type of way. But again, some people would try to be honest, but um be hurtful at the same time. I'll say, if you ever have experienced it, you know, remain neutral. There may be times where you are persuaded to choose sides. Avoid taking sides in a dispute. I ain't even getting in it. That's how I look at it. Ain't my business. I ain't getting in it. Avoid gossip. We just was talking about that. Gossip never resolves the problem. It only makes it worse. Participating in gossip can be just as damaging to you as it is to the object of the gossip. Sometimes we can't escape gossip because it be everywhere. Sometimes it be juicy, but sometimes you gotta just hear and don't hear. I say I've learned it because people be talking about people and like they say, it's three sides to every story. It's your story, their story, and the truth. So that's kind of almost like being neutral. I mind my business. I hear it, but I don't hear it. Seek help from someone you respect. If you find yourself at odds with a coworker, seek out someone who is not involved and can be objective, such as the manager. Ask for advice about how to proceed and then really listen. I guess they gotta have like the right mind frame as well. Because sometimes you could be at odds with a person and you trying to do the right thing. And even if you do seek someone to talk to about it, they can they can either plant a seed and make it worse or they can make it better. But it just depends on their mind frame. So I guess you gotta seek the right type of person to talk to about this. Do not take things personally. How many times have you had a bad day or been thinking about something totally unrelated to work? When a colleague asks you what is wrong or if you are mad at her, just because someone is behaving in a certain manner and you happen to be there does not mean the behavior involves you. If you are confused or concerned by someone's action, find a private place and avoid an appropriate time to get clarification. And I think that's kind of like a good one because just because I may seem standoffish don't mean that it's about you. It's not about you. It may be I just may have a lot of things going on in my head and I'm just trying to figure them out. And at this moment, I'm at work and I'm just not as talkative today with with the people. It's just, I'm just trying to figure some things out on my own right now that's in my head. So It's nothing personal, you know. So it's okay to it's okay to, you know, clear it up and clarify that it's not about you. Keep your private life private. The work environment is never the place to discuss your personal life and relationships. But again, that goes back to like when we was talking about getting too personal. Um Maybe certain coworkers you might feel open to share some things with, but you know for a fact that this person that you talking to ain't gonna run back and tell your business. But it's not like it's everybody. It's just some people that you can do that with. So, again, no, the workplace isn't always the right place to pour out your personal business. Unless, like I said, it's someone that you value and trust. Maybe you might work with your friends, you know, that you've been friends with already. So of course she know things about you. But other people, yeah, I ain't gonna tell you my business like this. So, you know, keep your private life private unless otherwise it's something you feel like you wanna be open about. So we come up on the focus on communicating with managers. Another important relationship is the one a person builds with their manager. The spa, the salon, spa, or barbershop manager is usually the person with the most responsibility regarding overall operations. The manager's job is a demanding one. Often, in addition to running a hectic shop, managers also have personal clientele of their own. The manager is the person who hires staff and is responsible for training. Managers have a vested interest in the success of staff members. Employees might perceive managers as powerful figures or of authority, but it is important to remember that managers are human beings. Staff members should support management by following the rules and guidelines that are set. Here are some guidelines for interacting and communicate with your manager. Be a problem solver. When seeking advice about an issue or problem, think of possible solutions beforehand. This will indicate that you are working in the business best interest. Get your facts straight. Make sure the information is accurate before you speak to management. This proactive approach is problem solving. Um, to problem solving will save time. Be open and honest. Advise the manager immediately when uncertainties compromise your decision making skills. Do not gossip or complain about colleagues. If you are having a legitimate problem with someone and have tried everything you can to handle the problem with your own resources, only then is it appropriate to go to your manager. Be open to constructive criticism. Just was talking about that. It is never easy to hear that you need improvement in any area. But keep in mind that part of your manager's job is to help you achieve professional goals and ensure the shop's success. It is the manager's job to evaluate your skills and offer suggestions on how to improve and expand those skills. Keep an open mind and do not take the criticism personally. Constructive criticism is like to just get you in alignment on what you need to do. It's good. It's good. It's good. And sometimes it could be kind of hard. Um, but it just depends on you as a person because sometimes some people need harsh realities to shake them and make them get in order. because at this moment you might be losing your job, you might be losing your position. So I've already talked to you and pulled you to the side and said how you need to do better, how you need to do such and such, and you still like kind of lagging with it. So here it come the harsh reality. Let me go ahead and put it to you really clear. Look, you need to do X, Y, Z because you about to lose your position or your job. You got X amount of time. So with that being said, this is where you at. So constructive criticism can be a good thing. It's just don't take it personal because somebody is only trying to build you to where you need to be. And that's okay if you can take it. So we go into communicate during an employee evaluation. Well-run salons, spas, and barbershops make it a priority to conduct frequent and thorough employee evaluations. Sometime during the course of your first few days of work, your manager will tell you when to expect your first employee evaluation. If the manager does not mention it, you might request a copy of the form or list of the criteria on which you will be evaluated. The following are some points to keep in mind as you begin your tenure in the shop. Take some time to look over the employee evaluation document. Be mindful that the behavior and activities most important to the shop are likely to be the ones on which you will be evaluated. You can begin to review and rate yourself in the weeks and months ahead so you can assess your progress and performance. Then there's remember the criteria um, are created for the purpose of helping you become a better beauty professional and to ensure the shop's success. Make the decision to approach the evaluation positively. Then you have as the time for the evaluation draws near, try filling out the form yourself. In other words, perform a self-evaluation, even if the shop has not asked you to do so. Be objective and carefully think about your comments. So, going into it also tells us before your evaluation meeting, write down any thoughts or questions so you can share them with your manager. Do not be shy. If you want to know when you can take no on more services, when your pay scale may be increased, or when you might be considered for promotion. This meeting is the appropriate time and place to ask. Many beauty professionals never take advantage of this crucial communication opportunity to discuss further future advancements because they are too nervous, intimidated, or unprepared to discuss these issues. Participate proactively in your career and in your success by communicating your desires and interests. That's a good one. To the only I think the only time you would do something like this is if you work in a salon like again like JC Penney's or something like that where they do the evaluations because when you're on your own you don't really have those. You don't really have to do the evaluation, but again, it's always good to do self evaluations and check yourself. Um, are you doing the right thing? Am I on task? Is this, that, and the third being done? Um, that's really mental growth. That's business growth, to evaluate yourself, evaluate where you are because they help boost you to the next level. Because you're gonna do everything you need to from your checkoff list to your new list that to better yourself. Um, but if you are in this setting, when you do get ready to do evaluation, it's good to have questions that you may not have had answered when you first started. And over a period of time and you've been working there, it's good to be able to ask a few questions. Like you said, um, when will I get a pay increase? Um, how how long would I be on this probationary period before I can do XYZ, you know? So having questions is really good to have to talk with your manager about. When you meet with your manager, show your self-evaluation and express that you are serious about your improvement and growth. Your manager will appreciate your input and your initiative. If you are being honest with yourself, there should be no surprises. At the end of the meeting, thank your manager for taking the time to do the evaluation and for the feedback and guidance offered. Feedback is really good because excuse me, that yawn to be some serious. Um, Feedback be really good because it give you a chance to, like you already evaluating yourself. It give you a chance to just see if you are doing better. You know, um, it help you to think about what they are saying so that you can apply it to what you trying to do. So feedback is good. Guidance is good because in the beginning you might not know how everything is being ran or how they want it. And once you get the guidance, you will know, hey, this is what the salon like. Even if you again by yourself, you guiding yourself into being a better professional. You guiding yourself into being a better manager just in case you have a salon suite where you can offer to rent out to someone else. And you will just be having your own guidelines that you want the person that's renting from you. How do you want them to follow it? So that's good. Um, so we come to a check-in and it says list at least five things to remember when communicating with with your coworkers. So give me five of the things off the list that you can remember when it comes to communicating with the coworker.
Uh, Avoid gossiping, treat everybody with respect,
Mm-hmm.
be neutral,
Mm-hmm.
um, get guidance from somebody or like advice from somebody that you respect and don't
Mm-hmm.
take it personal.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Thank you. Um, I would say like just like with the golden rules that we had went over, um, take consideration of those as well. Because even if you're not in your doing your field right now, you still work a job. And these things can apply to anywhere and everywhere. So just take them into consideration. Keep them in mind because again, we're never too old to learn, and we're never too old to change and do better. Cause when you know better, you do better. I always say, and with time come maturity. Because sometimes we may start out one way, don't mean that we'll end up the same way that we started. So, last but not least, I think that's the kind of like the end of it. We got one more little passage where it says, apply communicating for success. Congratulations on completing this chapter. Before you move on, take a moment to think about how these communicating
Book success topics apply to your particular discipline. Discuss with a classmate or study group how the 10-step consultation method should be adapted for your discipline. With some service related complaints you may receive could be, and how to tackle them. How to accommodate clients with special or medical needs, and so on. So we have come to the end of the chapter. That was the end of chapter 3. Um, and I don't want to go into a new chapter, and which is chapter 4. Um, because it may be the chapter she'll want to start with you on next Tuesday. But I do want to ask you, did you get a chance to look at your study guide, if possible?
I've been having some difficulty trying to open it. Like I'm clicking on the link and I don't know if it's my phone. Maybe I need to try from my laptop, but I can't get it to open. It opened one time and then after that I can't get it to open.
So are you going, like, when you get on Facebook, I know she posted like as a post, but are you going in the part where it say file?
See, I'm just clicking on it. Let me try now. Wow.
So like, let me go on there with you. So if you go on your Facebook,
And see, I'm on my phone and then it has document and I'm tapping on the document and in my phone it just says downloading file.
okay, so you see where it says you, chats, featured, rears,
Yeah.
about,
Uh-huh.
photos, event, and files.
Uh-huh.
Click on files.
Okay.
When you click on files, it is the third one. Click on it. It says chapter 1 through 4, Foundation Study Guide for this for cosmetology. And it'll
Right.
say see original post or view file. Click on view file. This page is available right now. So if you click on review file, it's saying that it's not, that the page isn't available right now. But come out of it and go to see original post. You see that,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
then click on the chapter 1 through 4 Foundation Study Guide for print. Click on it. Did it pull up for you then? You should see where it says chapter 1 through 4 Foundation, Aesthetics, and Cosmetology. And then it says multiple choice.
See, mm-mm,
It's still not pulling up for you.
mm-mm. See, I'm gonna end up going back to, I'm on a Samsung and I should have stayed with my iPhone because it ain't doing right.
Okay. So maybe if you do get on the laptop, it will open up for you.
I should hope so. Here it is. Okay.
So
I finally,
you see it?
yeah, I finally got it. Thank you.
Okay. So do the first question say beauty and wellness is at heart a blank industry?
Mm-hmm. And it's multiple
Okay. Yes, ma'am. It's multiple choice. Um, I was going. If you would have been, have gone over it before, I was going to try to go over some of them, to give you, some more time, while we on here. But I don't want to just let you off. Um, because I know we're through with the chapter, and it's really nothing else in that chapter to do. And I didn't want to start chapter 4 because I don't know if she wanted to start chapter 4 with you on next week. Um, but if you want to, we can go over some of them. Um, go over a few of them. Um, but I could go on YouTube as well and see about a video, see if we can get a video on communicating for success, just to give you a little more time on your Zoom. Because I know she wants you to she want all you ladies to get everything that you need and everything that is required because this is something that you're paying for. And I really believe that, you want to be knowledgeable of your field that you have chosen. And I always push for when it's time to take your test or take any test, you want to pass with proficiency. So let's see if I can pull us up a video and then we'll go from there if it sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Quita.
Yes, ma'am.
So this video here that I'm about to show, it talks about the consultation tool. This is where it sets the tone for um before the service begins. This, the consultation is what we learn about the client. And so this video I think will be have some good information and possibly a couple of good gems. So give me a second, I'm gonna start the video.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I just wanted to go over a few things about communicating for success. The
Can you hear her?
ability to understand people is a key ingredient in operating in many industries and especially in the world of cosmetology. Customer service is
Can you hear the
key.
video, Queen?
It is the most crucial thing that you will do in your business. So we must be good at it. We must learn it, and we must practice it every day till it becomes as natural as waking up in the morning. So technology can never take over great customer service. It can do a lot of things in this day and age, but it will never take over how you treat your clients and how they feel after you have performed a service in your chair. It's a personal experience, and you're basically selling yourself, not your service. You're selling your ability to communicate, you're selling your ability to talk, to perform what they want, and to see them through a lot of things that go on in their life that they may be depending on somebody like you to listen to them and just believe in them and what they want and what they're trying to achieve in their own personal lives. 5 important key factors to communicating for success. The first one I want to tell you is, number 1, always listen. Listen to your clients. They are the most important thing in your life at that moment in your chair. And it's the most important thing that you will ever do in your business because all clients are different. They all need something different. They all want something different. They just want to be heard. So by you listening to your clients and talking back and repeating back to them what they want and what you think you hear, which is also called reflective listening. So when we do that and we look in the mirror and we repeat back to them what they hear, they know that we understand them. They know they understand what we want, what we're going to give them, what they want, and they see eye contact. So that's very, very important. Number 2 is always smile. Always smiling creates a warm, friendly, approachable, and understanding aspect to yourself. A lot of people are afraid to approach somebody if they just look mean and they look kind of stubborn and they don't look happy. You don't want to approach someone like that. You want to approach someone that's got eye contact. They extend their hand for handshakes. They smile at you. They can laugh with you, and they can be honest and trustworthy. A simple smile does establish a relationship. Number 3, project a professional image. Come to work dressed nice. Come looking for success. Have your hair done, your makeup done. I mean, you are selling these services of yourself and in the salon, so you might as well play the part and look professional. Of course, professional dress with most hairstylists, it is black. That's kind of a go-to and a given. Black is a very professional color to wear. Doesn't always have to be black. You can wear what you want, but look professional. Clothes be pressed and clean and not wrinkled and look like you come up out of bed, because that's not going to get anybody anywhere. Use correct language. No gum chewing. There's nothing worse than somebody trying to smack their gum in your ear while they're trying to listen and take you serious during your consultations. So that's very important. Number 4, I would have to say would be body language. Your body language will tell these clients everything. Are your arms crossed like you're bored? Is your face wandering around and you're looking like, and you're not really listening to the client? Is your back turned to the client? Are you facing the client? All of these things you need to look at. What about standing up straight? Use your eye contact, your hands, not too crazy, but enough to self-express yourself. Most people do talk with their hands, and that's okay. It's a very hard habit to break, I myself included. But just like this, as you're using your hands, we have something a little bit to do, but we're not going crazy with them. So just keep that in mind. And number 5 would be to speak clearly. Speaking clearly means loud enough for the client to hear you. I mean, you are in the salon, there's blow dryers, there's other things going on. So you do need to speak clearly that they can understand you. You need to avoid slang if at all possible. Slang in terms of slang that would be an offbeat kind of slang, not hair lingo slang, because everyone has that going on. Just slang in general that you never know who might be offended by certain things like that. Do not mumble, and speak low. Speak slow, speak low. Don't have the volume of your voice turned up real loud like this, because then they're focusing on the volume of your voice and not what you're saying. You know what I mean. Greeting a client should be polite, it should be friendly, and it should be inviting. You are welcoming these clients into your home, which is your salon, your place of business. So greet them like you want them there. You are excited about them being there. And what else they can do for your business. They can invite other people in for you that you didn't even have to work for. So it's very important to be friendly and greet them. And use your greeting words. Use yes, ma'am, and thank you, and you're welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you for selecting me as your stylist. I appreciate your business. All of these words help. It shows that you are serious about your professionalism in your business and that you want them to come back. Give a tour of the salon. Show them other stylists. Show them other people in the salon that may be of service to them, whether it would be an esthetician, whether it be another colorist, or somebody that specializes in another service in your salon, or a manicurist. Maybe it's just a massage. It could be anything if you're in the salon spa, or even if you're just in the salon. So introduce them to people. The receptionist can best help them. Get them a drink, offer them, show them where the restroom is, show them where the smocks are, changing, anything like that. Just so they could have that in their pocket and they feel like they have been welcomed into your home and been given a tour of your home. Review the client's intake form, which is very important. You should do with absolutely every single service, even if you are repeating the same thing as in a color retouch that you do every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. Still get out your color intake form, or I'm sorry, your client intake form. And you want to refresh with them. Are we going to be repeating what we did last time? Are we upping the game a little bit? Are we changing it? We're giving you something new? Sometimes you don't know if you don't ask. They may be wanting a change, but they may not have the nerve to ask you, or they don't know how to put it. So if you initiate the conversation of a change, they will be happy to employ conversation with you about it. Perform an assessment of their hair needs. Find out what they want. What are they looking for? What is their lifestyle? What kind of maintenance are they willing to do? What challenges are they having with their hair? When is the last time they loved their hair? Ask these type of things, because sometimes they really don't know what the problem is. They just need somebody to drag the answer out of them, and that's okay. That's what we're there for. Analyze your client's hair, find out the texture, the thickness, the condition, the growth patterns. You need to see what you're working with. You need to understand the client's hair analysis in order to perform any type of chemical service. And then hair cutting also. You need to know about growth patterns. You need to look at necklines, look at the crown, look at the sides, the temples. You need to figure out if there's anything that's going to give you, as a stylist, a challenge in performing the very best service that you could for your client. Last but not least, review the client's lifestyle. Find out, are they active? Are they in sports? Do they run around with their kids all the time? Are they professional industry, or they're flying a lot, traveling? What do they do? What would help you give them something they could do easy? What kind of products? Maybe it's equipment. Maybe it's things they could take with them on the go. Something they need to maintain their hair for their lifestyle. It's very important to find that out. You cannot give a client something that they have to spend 20 minutes on and they don't have 20 minutes. And then everybody looks bad. And then they don't like their hair because you didn't listen and they feel like they didn't get what they wanted, etc. So understand where they're at. If they're low maintenance, provide them something low maintenance. If they want to be high maintenance, by all means, provide high maintenance. So analyzing yourselves and how we communicate our keys to success is the most important thing we can do as a stylist in our industry of cosmetology, and also in any industry really. Customer service is key, and it is something that technology will never take away. Okay, guys, I hope that you got something from this video, and I appreciate you watching. So you can click like and subscribe if you do. Hope to see you in my next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back. And I am now going to complete the blow dry, a blowout portion of my at-home haircut that I gave myself. So we'll see just exactly what I came out with. Okay, like and subscribe. Catch you later.
I think that was interesting. With some of the little key points that she gave out, about, um, when it comes to the consultation. You want to give me any feedback? What was something that stood out to you that you think that you could use when you become a licensed professional?
A lot of the stuff that she said, I'm trying to work on right now, like being an active listener, wearing a smile
Mhm.
every day. Because, like I said earlier, I be in my thoughts. It don't be nothing negative, but you know how you have a lot of stuff going on and you be trying to process what you need to do. And so my
Mhm.
facial expression will be showing what I'm thinking, and I sleep be
Mhm.
kind of frustrated, and people will think that I'm mean or I'm mad, and I'm like, no, I ain't paid attention to nothing you all just said because I'm
Right.
head. So I'm trying to work on that now because my coworkers will tell me that. Like one guy said, when I first saw you, I just thought you was mean. And I was like, why? He said, because your facial expression. I said, I'm trying to work on it, y'all. I promise you I am. But they was like, no, once we
Mhm.
got to know you, you real cool. You look like you were mad. I was like, no, I'm sorry. I promise you
When your
I'm
birthday?
ma'am.
When your birthday?
June 20th,
Are you a Cancer?
Gemini.
You a Gemini?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, okay. I was gonna say, I thought you was gonna say Aries because that's kind of like how people be saying that about me, but I'm a overthinker as well,
Yeah, that, yes. Yeah.
and I try to work on that myself. And like you said, when you're in your head, your facial expression, I don't be meaning it towards you, but because I got something going on in my mind and I'm trying to figure it out, it's just weighing heavy on my face, or
Mm-hmm.
my heart. So I feel you on that. As well as like the listening part. My boyfriend just was saying that I'm always on defense, but I don't feel like I always be on defense. I just don't like for people to try to point a finger at me because
Yeah.
I feel passionate about how I feel, but this is just my opinion. Just like you got your opinion, and you know, you might not have the aggression that I have with my
Mm.
opinion. So I feel you on that. What else was your takeaway that you said you was working on?
She mentioned like the volume of your voice. I'm from the country. I'm from Mississippi, so my mom can't hear for nothing in the world. So I spent most of my life kind of like voice loud, and it wasn't until I
Yeah.
moved this way toward Memphis that a coworker pointed out. She said, you know, you talk kind of loud, and I was like, I promise y'all, I never paid attention to it because I always had to yell, and because of my mom. So, but that's something that I'm learning to do as well, to kind of like lower my voice when I'm talking and not use my hands as much. I talk with my hands, or I stand there with my arms crossed while I'm listening, and I'm listening to you, but it may come across as, I guess, a sign of aggression. So I'm learning to kind of like lock my fingers like behind me, like I have my hands behind me, or I have them down low to keep from moving my hands as much when I'm talking.
Just try to relax.
Mm-hmm.
My clients say that about me. They said, Candace, you talk with your hands and they slow you down when you be working. I said, it don't be, I be trying to work and talk, but sometimes I be trying to get my point out and it's just like my hands start moving. So I understand that a lot. Um, and I know we talked about this also in this chapter about the folding the arms. It's just like a body language, and like you said, it's trial and error. We be learning,
Mm-hmm.
from behaviors that we have done for so long. And when it comes to breaking those barriers, um, it just take a minute. Um, you just is what is it? You unlearning those habits. So it just take work. And for me, far as like with my overthinking, um I had a mentor tell me, the war in your thoughts is over, because I always thought about everything. And when I think about it, it be on my heart. And I just used to be always in my head, and it'll have me stuck sometime where I'm like, I can't move because I'm thinking about the solution. I want a solution to this what's going on in my brain.
Right.
And so I read my word a lot, because he tells us that if we keep our mind on him, he'll keep us in perfect peace. And also it tells us to take every thought captive. So I try to slow down and captive those thoughts that be weighing heavy. Because when they start weighing heavy, then I'm getting too I'm going too far into the left. Because once I start thinking about A, then I'm start thinking about B, then I'm start thinking about C, then I'm start thinking
Mm-hmm.
about D. So
Yeah.
I feel you on everything you said. And when it comes to your this business, you do be thinking because you wanna first of all, you wanna make sure your client is satisfied. Then not only are you wanting to make sure they're satisfied, you want to also be happy in the industry. That you chose. So I felt everything you said, and I'm glad you were able to give me a little feedback on how you feel and stuff like that. Um, what else was something that stood out to you?
When she mentioned like dressing professional, to me, Miss D said this. I think it was like the first day. Like it don't have to be dolled up makeup and stuff every day, but somewhere in life I lost myself, and so I don't, girl, I don't have clothes, I don't have shoes like that unless it's just my work uniform. So I'm trying to build
Mm,
myself back up to that. Like,
mm-hmm,
mm, I'm gonna go get my hair cut. I think I want to. I don't think I know. I want a pixie cut, and I want my hair colored. So I want to go get that done to keep that up, and start going to get my feet done again, get my nails done. Just being presentable and feeling pretty again. So I'm
mm-hmm.
at that level too.
And self care is the best care. It
Yeah.
start it
Yeah.
start with us. So if when you feel good, everything around you gonna feel good. You know what I'm saying? And it really is just one day at a time. And again, like I just said, some habits that we have taken on and we have did on a did on a regular. It's just a matter of retraining our brain about those things. Go get your haircut. Get that color. Once you do that, next month, go pamper yourself for go pamper yourself for your nails and your feet. After that, buy you a shirt, then after that, go buy you a pair of pants. After that, buy you a pair of shoes. It's just one day at a time.
Yeah.
We beat ourselves up because we want to make sure that um we're doing the right thing by others, I think. But it really ain't about others. It's about self. That's why I said self-care is the best care. I remember a time where I fell off and lost myself, but I had to tell myself, come on, Candace, get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Today you gonna go outside and, you know, do something for yourself. My pastor said that. You might have 5 pair of jeans. Change up the shirt.
Yeah.
You just wear them same 5 until you can get 5 more. If you got 5 shirts, you wear a different pair of pants and you get 5 more shirts. So it's all a process. Um, and it's just one day at a time, one day at a time. And being professional, like she said, it's not all about the makeup and stuff like that, the jewelry and stuff, or the name brand. It's just about how you carry yourself. Because some places that are on a professional setting, they have a uniform that they want you to wear. Some may want you to wear all black. Some may want you to wear blue jeans, white top, you know. So, but it's about how you make it look. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said about your you with your uniform. You wear your uniform, but guess what? My hair done.
Mm-hmm.
You wear your uniform, but guess what? My nails and feet, they done. They make me feel good because my nails and feet done. My nails going with my uniform. I did that something for myself. So professionalism is how you make it look. It's not all about being dolled up. It's not all about the name brand and stuff like that because again, that type of stuff it get old. What don't get old is um how we carry ourselves in our industry because that's what people looking at. We can How can I put this? People be dressed sharp from the top of their head to the bottom of their feet, but they inside ugly, toe up, raggedy, man, a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
You can dress it up, but on the inside, you not everything that you looking like on the outside.
Yeah, it is true. Mm.
So it's just one day at a time, Quita. One day at a time and one thing at a time. You said you're gonna go get your pixie cut. Get your pixie cut. And with your pixie cut, like you said, I'm gonna get that pop of color. Get the color. Then after that, whatever next you got going, whatever next you feel you want to do. Those are like short term goals. We talked about that. I think that was chapter 2. Short term goals.
Mm-hmm.
What do your short term goals look like for the first 3 months? Then once you achieve your short term goals for the 3 months, you look at another short term goal for your 6 months. Because we can make long term goals, but here it is, a year done passed and we still haven't touched the surface of our long-term goals because we still achieving those short-term goals. Because the short-term goals matter just as much as the long-term goals.
Yeah.
So you got these. You got
Thank
these. One
thank
day
you.
at a time, one thought at a time, and you move forward. It's just like thinking. You put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, true. It is true.
Anything else that you took away from it?
No, that was pretty much it. 'Cause I was like, when she was talking, it's same way with Miss D. When she was talking, I was like, man, I do need to work on it. I need to start working on this stuff like right now. But that was
Yeah,
um like a New Year's resolution that I made for myself anyway, to start taking better care of myself because I can't take care of my girls if I'm not taking care of myself. Like how I'm gonna pour into them when I'm empty myself.
right, right, and that's right, and and you lead by example because what they see, they'll mimic.
Yep. So I said every pay period I was gonna buy myself something. I don't care what it is. Whatever it is I want that's gonna make me feel better. I'll buy it.
And you
So
work for it.
yep, just sitting up working like crazy and only paying bills, that stuff draining and depressing.
Out, and you took the word out of my head. It is like, to me, again, I'm real spiritual. I'm not really. I ain't gonna say religious because that's something that's put on people. But I'm very spiritual about the fact that if we trust Him, He tells us that He gonna give us everything. He gonna provide for us, and that's in His word, and He can't lie. And I know for a fact of what He'll do. Just just the lady said the other day. She said, showboat about what God has done for you in spite of thinking what the enemy gonna come back, a backlash of the enemy. When I first moved into the place I'm in now, when I moved out of the last place, I got rid of everything. So I told God, I said, I want my whole house furnished, and and that's what He did. I told him I ain't have much money, and he did exactly what I needed, but what I had. That's why, like you said, you work, your girl, you taking care of your girl. So you gotta take care of yourself. If everything else is being taken care of, we be the last one on the list. So we have to
Yep.
learn to put us just up, put us in the mix of on as a priority, just like everything else.
Yep, that is true.
Yeah,
Yep. I've been doing good so far. Like every pay period, I'm buying myself something, anything. I bought myself a bed.
I'm telling
Like
you.
this pay period, I did something so simple. I bought myself two new pillows and a shirt just because I wanted to. I'm like, I need some more pillows, man. My head be hurting when I wake up. My neck stuff. So I went and bought two pillows, and then I went on Shein and bought a shirt. Like I feel like it's progress because it's way better than what I've been doing.
Right. One day at a time. Cause we can't do everything in one day. It's one day at a time. One paycheck at a time, you feel me? I'll tell you. So you just keep up the good work. You keep scribing and you keep going. And it gets so much better. It gets a little more easier. And so we just have to stay focused. Stay focused and get out of our head. Get out of our head. I did learn that journaling helped me get out of my head too. If you journal, that'll help you with your, having when you have a lot of thoughts. Sometimes it take getting them out your head to clear your head.
That's true.
Yep.
That is true. I'm gonna try.
But go ahead.
No, I said I'm gonna try that journaling.
Yeah, try journaling. It'll help. It I know it helped me, and I ain't gonna say overthinker. I thought I was a compulsive thinker. Sometimes I feel like I could be thinking in my head while I'm sleeping. So
Cause then you wake up tired. You want to.
tired, head hurt,
Yep.
drained, cause I'm still when I wake up I'm still thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But I say, you know what? I woke up one day and said, I can't keep going about it. This is why I think that's how people lose their mind. No.
I do too.
So I said, I end up going to counseling. And she asked me, do I journal? And I was like, no. She was like, you keeping all that inside. And all it's doing is just piling on top of each other, just piling and piling and piling. And she said, try journaling. Try writing down some of those thoughts and see how it make you feel. And every now and then, when it's something too much on my mind, I pull out my little book and I start writing down my thoughts. And once I write down my thoughts, even if I'm angry, when I write it down, once I'm done, I feel so much better. Like when they said about keep your private life to yourself,
Uh-huh.
that be my person, my paper and pen be my person that I can just talk to. Or sometimes I talk to God. I might be like, Father, look, you see what's going on. You see what's going on, for I see what's going on. And I talk to him just like I'm talking to you sometimes. Because I don't just know all the words. I don't know everything. I don't know every scripture. But I do know I feel like I got a relationship where I can call on him and talk to him. And he told me that he is my father. So I use them. And my kid's grandmama told me, she said, when you feel some type of way, climb up in your daddy lap like a child and tell him how you feel. And I was like, what? Let me try that. Sometimes I just sit back, close my eyes, and I just rest in him and let him do the rest.
Yep, give it to him. But we sure don't know what to do with it.
Mm-mm. Cause like we just both said, be calm thinking about it, calm thinking about it, and thinking about it, and I ain't got the solution, but thinking, steady thinking.
Yeah. Even with me enrolling to get my cosmetology license, I've been trying to get my license forever. And every time I try, something would pop up, or I would sit there and listen to everybody else tell me, you don't need to do that. I don't see you as a cosmetologist and all this other stuff. And I'm like, but y'all, this is what I want to do. Like, to me, hair is an art. Beauty,
Mm-hmm.
beauty industry itself is an art. It's a timeless art. All it do is repeat itself time and time again. And when you style a person or you doing their makeup, their nails, you pretty much hold the ability to make that person feel better. They could be having the worst day ever, but their hairstyle then flip their whole mood. Their
Yes,
nails and they getting their nails and stuff done, it could be therapy for them. You
yes,
get a facial and stuff. It's relaxing. So we hold the ability to do that. And I'm like, man, if I can make a person feel better to get out their head, because I know how they feel, why wouldn't I want to go into that?
right, right. And sometimes because if it's something you want to do and other people may not want to do that, they'll discredit it to make you, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
second second guess yourself. My mom used to always say, there's not a job. But I'm like, it is a
My
job.
mama said that too.
I get up every day having to go go do people hair, and that's how I get paid. And if you get up and go clock in, that's how you get paid. So how is it not a job? It's just
My,
not the job that you picked because
uh,
you chose to clock in.
yep, she told me cosmetologists don't make money at
Who?
all, girl. Because my stylist growing up, her name was Kathy. She had a shop called Jalen's. I'm like, ain't no way in the world. Because if you like back then, you would get a perm and some everything else for like $50, $60. But
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking, I'm like, shoot, but Kathy doing about between 6 to 10 people a day. So you mean to tell me that ain't no money that she done made
Hmm.
and they got paid right then and there instead of waiting to the end of the month? Because both my parents are teachers. They got paid at the end of the month. You gotta work a whole 30 days before you touch your paycheck. Meanwhile,
Hmm.
they getting paid at the end of the day. Well, flip that. She getting paid when the person get out the seat. When they get
What
out
you
there,
said?
they get paid.
Man, it's some six-figure stylists out here.
Man, what you said?
It is this industry is so big. Like only how you don't make no money, you hold yourself back.
Uh-huh.
And that's only because you have people in your ear like that ain't a job or you ain't gonna make no money and this that, and third your clients ain't being sufficient. No, because guess what? Who for me, God gonna send them to me. And like you said, I'm getting paid every day. Once I finish them that service, they finna pay me.
Right.
And just do 6 to 10 out of say you work 4 days. Can't tell me that ain't no money.
Exactly.
These people never ride Rolls Royce and living in big houses and like my cousin, he a barber. He got he had 3 shops and a school. And then not only that, you gotta count the people that rent the booths. So how is not money in this industry? My it's plenty of it. And once you get your hair license, once you get established, once you get your feet in the water and stuff like that, and you've been doing her for a minute, go back and get your instructor license. Go
Mhm.
like now, I'm getting my aesthetics license.
Yeah. It's like it's so much that you can do in this field. It's crazy. Because I actually thought about, I was like, okay, I can get my cosmetology license. Then I was like, man, I could go get my barbering license. Because I know once I get
Yeah.
college license, all I need is 750 hours to become a barber, and I can specialize in women cuts and color. Like see, these are the type of thoughts that be going on when I be like, my facial expression be telling. I be thinking of like all that stuff. Mine just be going everywhere, and I'm like, man, God, dog.
I'm gonna be a millionaire in this industry. Like you said. First I started out as a cosmetologist. Then I add on. It's like so much to add on to it. Like I said, I did my cosmetology thing. I was thinking about going to school, going to get the hours for barbering, but I end up going ahead on to get my instructor license because I worked at Great Clips. I ain't have to be no barber. They taught me exactly what I need to do to be a barber, but I still can go get the barber hours and add that on to me.
Right, right.
Like I just said, I'm doing aesthetics now. I'm like, shoot, I really want to dabble in hair loss. I want to be a hair loss practitioner. So it's so much money in this industry that only how you don't make money is if you don't apply yourself. And once you start, guess what? They gonna be like, I thought it wasn't gonna be what you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Just have faith in me. Just believe and and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you the flip side of what you thought. But that be the enemy too, though.
Yep. I learned to just like keep my mouth shut about whatever it is I want to do. That's something I'm doing this year too. Like the only person that really truly know that I'm in cosmetology school is my oldest. Is this because she's here? Like she can hear
Mm-hmm.
the Zoom call and stuff like that. And don't nobody else know. And I don't want them to know until I graduate. Like,
Yeah.
uh, I'm graduating. I'm gonna invite y'all to the graduation. Like, y'all coming? Oh, you graduating in what? Oh, I got my cosmetology license. That I really want to make that move. Like, I'm not telling nobody nothing because if it's not what they see, that negative thoughts and that negative energy throw me off. And I'm like, man, maybe they right. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I don't need that mindset right now.
Mm-mm. You
Need
on the
it.
right track. You know why? Because if it weren't for you to do it at this point in time and moment, might something else would have came up where you wouldn't be able to do it. So
Yep.
this is the right time and this is the right moment. And like you said, sometimes we have to be quiet until we finish doing, finish out the plan.
Yep.
And you know, I have to tell my this. I tell myself this, and I tell my kids this. If ain't nobody rooting for you, you gotta be rooting for you way louder than everybody else.
Yep.
Going against what you rooting for. If you want to be you gonna be a hairstylist. Guess what? I ain't gonna put 100% in. I'm gonna put 110% in it because at the end of the day, it's gonna benefit me and everything connected to me. So if
Yep.
ain't nobody said it to you, girl, I'm proud of you. Keep on going, keep
Thank
on
you
moving, and you got this. You got this.
so much.
You got this. Um, so that just set an example for your girls too. You know, like you can do anything you want to do. You can be anything you want to be. If you put your mind to it, do it. Do it. If you feel like there's something you can accomplish, do it. Set them goals and go for it.
Yeah.
So just keep going. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. And when Miss D ain't online, I'll be the probably be one online. And I'm gonna have to check in and see how you doing, Quita. How far we done get, you know.
Yeah, I need that. Thank you.
You're welcome, no problem. Shoot, some days I be needing. I have to, man, look, pep my. I had to pep myself. I had to
Yeah.
pep myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 11:42. And if you don't have any other questions or you don't have anything else, you know, that you want to ask, I do say go on your go on your Facebook, go up under your files and um do your study guide question because I think it's like, ooh, I want to say 115 of them or something like that.
I scrolled through it. Yep, it's 100 and some.
Yeah, it's a lot of questions. Um, and just but if you just have to scan through them before you sit down and do them, because I know some of the questions we already have discussed in some of the chapters and stuff like that, you might be able to answer. But you got this, and good luck, and um, don't clock out till 12. And I
All
hope you have an amazing day.
right, you too.
All right, you have a good evening.
All right.
Bye bye.